can they extract any sort of food here? So these have had to evolve special types of modifications to the digestive system that are fermentation chambers. So it isn't that the animal has the digestive enzymes to break the cellulose down. They have to provide a home for microorganisms, bacteria, protozoans that can do this. And there's two different forms here that can be foregut fermenters and hindgut fermenters. So this foregut, hindgut is referring to the position of these fermentation chambers with respect to the stomach and the main enzymatic hydrolysis systems. Okay, so for hindgut fermenters, they have a very large cecum. Okay, so the cecum is a pouch or a closed-in bag that is at the junction of the small intestine and large intestine. And so it is filled with protozoans and bacteria. So some of the cellulose will leave and go into that cecum where it is enzymatically broken down by the bacteria into glucose and other materials that will then eventually make its way back into the large intestine. There's a problem with this hindgut stuff is because where was the area of absorption? Where does food get absorbed? It's way upstream, okay, in the small intestine. This is bypassing it, okay? And with the exception of certain fatty acids, most of that stuff will not be absorbed by the large intestine. Some fatty acids and lipid-soluble materials can cross the large intestine and get into the bloodstream, but a lot of the stuff just goes out. And therefore, okay, this is just showing carnivore. Cecum's very, very small, but something like a rabbit, which is eating a lot of cellulose type of material, has a very, very large cecum. Okay, so there's a difference here. Let me see here. Let me go back here and talk about these hindgut fermenters. Okay, so the hindgut fermenters, there's a problem because most of that nutrients that would be gained by bacterial digestion goes out in the feces. And so things like rabbits, what they do is that they eat their feces. Okay? And in fact, they can, now if they eat their feces, all that material is going through the digestive system again, where it goes through the small intestine where it can get absorbed. In fact, rabbits can produce two different types of feces. One, which is delicious to them, and the other, which they need. Okay, so there's a way in which they can modify the content of their feces. And so they are sort of resemble politicians to a certain way. Okay, they eat, go on, that's anyway. Now, for foregut fermenters, the best example here is a group of mammals called ruminants, okay, sheep, cattle, and other relatives. And they have these fermentation chambers which are out-pocketing modifications of the esophagus. Okay, that's part, they evolved from the esophagus. And so something like deer or a cow, they have several pouches. First, they take it into something called rumen, which is filled with protozoans and bacteria. And so these are breaking it down. But of course, these organisms are growing, reproducing, etc. And some of these bacteria and protozoans they have the metabolic pathways to be able to create amino acids, because in grass and other plant material, there's not a whole lot of protein. That's pretty low in protein. Why do you think animals it's a good source of protein, but plants aren't? Why? Why do you think? Why do animals have more protein, much more protein than plants? To be able to move. You have muscle. Muscle has a lot of protein. Okay? How much muscle is in a plant? None. They do have proteins, but they don't have any sort of mobile system like we have. And therefore, animals are good for protein, but plants are not. But this is an animal, and it needs protein, and it needs amino acids. And so a lot of these amino acids they get from the protozoans that can do it. Now, you have to have ammonia, you have to have nitrogen to make amino acids. So in their excretory system, kidneys, etc., they conserve a lot of the ammonia and dump it in here, so that you have now ammonia available for the production of for the bacteria to make amino acids. Okay, and still, it takes a long time. They can regurgitate, and they'll bring this material back up to their mouth, chew it some more, which breaks it up into fragments, okay, for the bacteria and protozoans to work on. It's called chewing the cud. And then they'll swallow it back, and sometimes it goes into another chamber, and eventually another chamber. And you don't need to know these various chambers, but there's 4 chambers in a ruminant. Only this one here that's called epimasum, that is the real stomach. Okay? So eventually this stuff gets into a real liquid mush that then goes into the stomach, and it is rich in bacteria and protozoans which the cow can digest. So they're digesting their stuff that they let grow in these fermentation chambers. And so that will then go into the small intestine where it is then taken up, okay, the food material. All right, so foregut is an advantage, okay? And that's all I have to say about digestion. So we'll move on to our next system. Any questions?